Hey everybody, welcome to my live. This is my Alicia, and today we're going live with Caileneasely. We're going to be discussing the dating scene because it is a discussion that needs to be had. I'm going to go ahead and add Cailin in right now. Hi! How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm super excited to talk about this topic because it needs to be had. Okay, we need to talk about it.
You're
So
not lying.
get into it. Cailin is a woman of wisdom, knowledge. She reads the girls and the guys, okay? She reads us. So I a perfect conversation with her. But before we get into that, Cailin, I have to ask, how have you possessed so much knowledge on topics regarding dating and relationships, and where does that wisdom come from?
I feel like, I think the first thing started with my parents. My parents are older and they're more experienced with different things with different people. And I would just kind of listen to them, pick up on things. And a lot of the times I just watched. Like as a child, I was outspoken, but when it came to me moving around and being in front of people, I really was not that outspoken. I more so just kind of sat and listened. And then once I started experiencing things, I was like, it took me by surprise because I was like, how can people be so shitty? And I'm really trying to be a good person to them. Like it pissed me off because I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I'm really trying to be the best person that I can to them. Hi everybody. And it took really what rocked my world was my first serious relationship, which occurred when I was like a junior in high school. And then we stopped dating when we were freshmen in college. And that was like that relationship taught me the most. It taught me a lot about myself. And then it made me look at things like I was already very analytical about different things, but that really made I felt it like it was different feeling it. And so ever since then, like, cause even in high school, like at some point I'm going to post it. Like I was always talking, like I was going on my stories, doing the same thing I'm doing on TikTok. And I noticed like, I'm just happy I kept that passion up. And I think that what I would examine when I was younger and then what I started going through as of like recently in my older years, that really influenced me to kind of be where I am today.
Well, I have to say I'm glad you used your platform because you've helped me. Like when I came across you, I was like, oh yeah, she done read me. Because I feel like I agree sometimes like, yeah, why are people the way they are? Why are they treating me like this? So I feel like thank you
Yeah.
for using this platform and giving the world advice and giving us you say you don't sugarcoat stuff, okay? So
Period.
let's hop
Okay.
questions. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the dating scene. So I wanted to know what's your opinion on today's dating scene?
I feel like personally there are a lot of broken people in relationships or trying to get into relationships. And I think that that's where the whole toxic relationship and all of these things come in, because I think that we have a lot of people they're fixated on being in a relationship. They think that, like, I remember being in high school and there was a kid and he was talking about how he's never going to find anybody to be with. He's never going to, like, he's going to be alone forever. And he was a freshman in high school. And it's like, I feel like we put so much of it. I was like, boy, please. Like, we put so much value. Yeah. And it's a lot of people like that. And I'm kind of like, at this point, your value does not depend on whether you're in a relationship or not, or if somebody loves you or not. Because I feel like if so many people don't really take the time to love themselves, and they just kind of scoop, they're ready for somebody else to put that claim on them. It's just so much going on. And I feel like it starts young. I feel like it starts when we're young, and then as we get older, like the dating scene is just for just looking back and seeing what people go through, like I'd be like, oh my goodness, like, are y'all okay?
Exactly. So do you feel dating scene is the way it is because, like you said, people are just focused on having somebody to be instead of really, really coming into a relationship as a whole person? Because I feel like in I can't talk. Our generation, I feel like if we did the inside work on ourselves, maybe it would go better. I feel like a lot of people have they don't know how to approach people. They haven't been taught to court. And that's why it's like this, because it's ghetto. It's ghetto out here.
No, you're not lying. It is ghetto. And I agree with you. I feel like you have some people that have not dealt with their hurt, have not dealt with their trauma, and they're trying to use other people to do it. And then they get in these relationships, and the relationships are horrible. They feel bad, but they're almost attached to that feeling. It's like they don't know how to be alone, and they don't. It's like, and I just seen a video from one of my mutuals, and she said that sometimes you can be using people to cope. And I feel like a lot of people aren't dating, they're coping, and they're doing it with somebody else and calling it dating. And sometimes they don't even realize it. And I think that it's crazy because it's kind of like it's an ongoing, it's a revolving door of trauma. And it's a revolving door of hurt. And it's like it really doesn't stop because and I think a lot of people don't know how to deal with the hurt. I think a lot of people don't know how to heal, or they don't think they have to, because I think you have some people that's just walking around hurt, and they don't see it because they've adapted and normalized to whatever they've been feeling. So it's kind of almost like walking on a bad knee, and at first it hurts, but then you get used to the pain. It's kind of like you adapt to it. It may hurt, but it's the hurt that you know. And so I feel like that's how a lot of people are carrying themselves in relationships, and then these same people start having kids. So now it's passed on to the kids. And if the kids, because I can't even fault kids for sucking that up, because at that point, which at some point in their life, they do have the option to do better once they start realizing things. But it's hard when you're born into something. And I feel like that's how it keeps going. And that's why people nowadays are hurting, because I feel like our generation of parents are invalidating and haven't given, our people our age the advantage of being able to open up and communicate and talk about, like, it goes so much deeper. Like,
yeah, it does. Exactly.
Yeah.
That what you saying, like you have that hurt and stuff. So say two people come together and red flags. It's a red flag. So how would you how would you say to get out of that? Like, some people can't leave just off of one red flag. So what's your advice on that, basically?
That is really, this is a tricky one, because as much as I would love for people to leave when they see the first red flag, a lot of people won't, because I think you have a lot of people that want to have faith, that want to have hope. You have a lot of people that want to they want to have the hope that it's going to work. But then again, sometimes it's almost like a thing where people have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. But then also at that point, you've distributed all yourself into this one person, into this relationship, and now you're drained. And now you've lost yourself in a relationship that never gave anything to you. And I feel like it's sometimes for a lot of us, because that's what it took for me. It took for me to be, when I say drained to leave. And I seen that I seen that there was better other places. And it was like, it took me seeing how good someone else can treat me. And it took me being at the lowest of lows to be like, okay, this is some bullshit. And because even after disappointment after disappointment after this, pain, some shit that I wouldn't want nobody to go through, I would still stay. And it's kind of like it takes you really being grinded down, sadly, for a lot of people, because I feel like when you have somebody that's broken, they're going to excuse a lot of it. And it's hard for them to see clearly, or that's like they're looking through a fog lens. And it's like, it really, I would encourage people first to heal, because I feel like once you heal and once you're able to recognize things better, because you're not going to desperately try to hold on to anybody. You're not going to try to make excuses, because you know yourself, you love yourself, and you're very self-aware. So I would always encourage people to heal first. But if not, and you have some people that just kind of like stick on, it's going to take them being drained, I feel, to kind of get to the point where they're like, okay, no, I can't do this.
Exactly. Yeah, my mom always tells me, like, you gotta get tired yourself. I can't keep on telling you you're gonna leave something.
Yeah.
Physically, like, okay, I'm over this. And then I agree, it's about healing. It's about knowing your worth, respecting yourself, and then you'll know who you deal with. Because I saw something on Twitter that stop staying in these poor experiences with people just to say you have people. I'd rather be alone than experience crappy stuff. Yeah, exactly.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I just feel like it's inner healing. Like, it just has to do with you. Do you love yourself? Do you respect yourself to keep on tolerating, the BS from people? And then two,
that's what I'm saying.
We've talked about red flags, but let's talk about another ghosting. I'm confused, because sometimes I feel like you don't owe somebody an explanation, but then I feel like it's rude. What do you think? What do you feel about that?
I feel like I remember watching a show where a guy, I guess he just wasn't interested in the girl no more, or he just felt it wasn't going to work. And his way of doing that was just to stop all communication. And for me, I thrive off of communication. Just let me know. Like, I feel like there's no better way than communicating. If you're not interested, like, just say that. Because I feel like some people will leave somebody else under a false pretense or not, or it's kind of like, I'm thinking that, okay, we are going to be able to go here or do this. Like, I feel like it really leaves too much room and confusion for somebody that's been ghosted. And I really don't like that, because I'm just like, just be honest. It's not going to take much to just say, hey, I don't think that this is going to work because yada, 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 whatever. And if they act crazy, they act crazy. Regardless, people will be acting up. I feel like if somebody is really irrational, that's one thing. But I feel like to just ghost somebody because you're simply not interested, so I feel like in most instances, there should be some kind of message delivered, like, hey, I just don't think that this is going to work, but whatever. And then just leave it at that. And if you don't want to respond to it, I just feel like allowing them to know that I want to disconnect from this. Something.
Exactly. So do you feel like people don't owe people explanations, or like, cause I can see both sides. Like, cause like
I can understand that.
Yeah, I feel like people think they're like protecting other people's feelings, so they just like, I'm not gonna tell them. I'm gonna just disappear. But on the other hand, passive aggressive. I feel like that's very aggressive. So yeah, I don't know.
I kind of feel like it's really tricky, because I feel like, to be honest, nobody is owed anything. Like, I can see that. I feel like it's the more courteous thing to do, because, hey, if somebody wants to disappear, they'll do that if they feel like that's necessary. But I feel like it speaks loudly to their character. And why couldn't you just have the decency to tell me, hey, I don't think that this is going to work anymore? I mean, it could have just been as simple as that, because it's something so small, so simple, but it means a lot. And I feel like it's almost better for somebody else to be able to close that piece of the chapter and whatever, book it may be in, even though it may have just been a page. Hey, they could just put a period on it, and that's it for them. But I feel like to not say anything, I feel like it's a little rude to do that.
And somebody said in the comments, communication is definitely key, because I start making my own assumptions in scenarios. Bree yourself said that. Yes, yep. I agree, because I start overthinking, like, dang, what did I do wrong? Did I do something?
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like we're adults, communicate. And if you really respected what we had, you would have told me what the problem was. So I definitely agree. And then the next thing, because I don't want to keep it too long, long distance relationship.
Ooh.
Yes.
For me, I don't necessarily love long distance, but I have been, like, my boyfriend just got back from being long distance, and it was hard, but I feel like in order to be in a long distance relationship, you have to be on the same page. Like, y'all have to connect at the minds. I feel like y'all cannot be on two different pages. I mean, the communication has to be there. The understanding has to be there. Sometimes, you have to, with long distance, if that person wants to not talk to you for a few days, it would be better if they communicated that, hey, I need some space or something. But then sometimes they'll use the long distance to their advantage and say, okay, well, I'm just going to take some time to myself. And you won't be able to, they could just decline your calls, which sucks. And it's like, long distance is difficult, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I really feel like people that know what they want and they know that they want each other, those are the best kind of people to be in long distance relationships, because if you're unsure, if you're unsteady and not grounded, it probably won't be the best situation.
Exactly.
It's hard.
Do you feel like in long distance relationships, it leaves room for both parties to be thinking? Like, me personally, I don't really like long distance, because I feel like you over there, like, oh, is she messing with somebody? And I'm over here, are you messing with somebody? Mm-hmm. So I do, like, it goes back to what you said, strong. You got to be really strong to do a long distance relationship. And you've done that? Your boyfriend was living somewhere else?
Yeah, he was deployed for like 7 or 8 months, but he was gone for almost like a year, like a little less than a year. So he was gone for a while, and it was kind of like, for me, I never really. It is difficult, because you always wonder, is this person doing me right? Or, it's always that thoughts in the back of your mind. But for me, I was just kind of like, regardless if there's something happening behind my back, I'm going to find out at some point. And I just tell myself, I'm not going to worry myself about things that I can't control. And then I also have to tell myself, is this person giving me valid reason to believe that they're doing something, or am I just in my head because I'm having an insecure moment? Like, I think about things like that because you want to be able to make a distinction, because you definitely don't want to go off on a tangent, go off on your partner for something you've accumulated in your own mind without them doing anything. Because I know we've all been at a point to where we've done something like that. But yeah, like, I feel like you really have to be steady and stable and just really know what it is that you want and what you're looking for. And I think that really helps when it comes to just in general, but it really helps when it comes to long distance.
Okay, exactly. So we talked about long distance. We talked about dating and relationships. So how do you feel about like that freshman boy you said? I mean, I think he was the boy you said he was like, oh my God, I'm a freshman, I'm alone. So what did you feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to find anybody. I haven't had a boyfriend, I haven't a girlfriend. What would you say to them? Because it is times where people are like, dang, like they feel like they're left out. They haven't experienced much.
I feel like it's tricky because I feel like multiple things could, just have to do with that. But I feel like, in which I could understand for somebody that hasn't been in a relationship, why they are like, I've never been with anybody. Like, am I ever going to find somebody? Because it's different when it's something you haven't had. And I just tell people, like, take this time to just develop yourself and build yourself up so that whenever that relationship comes, you know how to handle yourself in it, and you know how to, you like take this time to learn, because you have so much time, space, and opportunity to learn how to love yourself, to heal yourself if you have any, take all of this time for yourself, because relationships are fun, but they're also work. And it's like, you want to make sure that you're good before getting into a relationship. And it's like, sometimes people are so focused on getting in a relationship and not really thinking about, like, it's not that a relationship is a job, but it does require you to work and put effort into it. And sometimes people don't think about that. They're just kind of like, I just want to be in a relationship. So I would really encourage them to take this time, focus on yourself, do what you got to do. And then when that relationship comes, it's going to come. Like, no pressure. It's going to come whenever, it comes.
Exactly. Okay. And then, so I know I told you 15 minutes. I don't want to keep it long, like I said. So before we leave, can you give me a dating story that you don't mind sharing with everyone that had so many red flags, and how did you come out of that?
Like a relationship I've been in that had red flags?
Or dating, anything that you don't.
Or dating? Oh, Lord. I feel like I've got my feelings invalidated. Because that happened a couple of times, actually. Like, that was a red flag that I had ignored. And it was like, this happened with two different people, where I would just kind of say how I felt, and it was almost like a shutdown. Like, no, you don't. Or their feelings would override mine. And I was like, oh, at that point, like, now I know if I can catch it, I'm gonna catch it. But when that happened, like, that really dwindled me down back then. Like, it really took a big toll on me, because it made me feel insignificant, and it made me feel like my voice did not matter. And I was like, at a certain point in my life, like, girl, I was like, it affected, like, what I did, my eating habits. It affected the way that I acted on a date. Like, it was starting to really get to me, and I was really beating myself up, because I thought that I was making myself responsible for somebody else's bad behavior. So it was kind of like, and that all came from that was just the invalidating my emotions. That wasn't even everything else that kind of came with those relationships. But that was the main thing that I was like, that was my biggest red flag that I swore to never, like, look past again.
Wow. Well, I just took that. You're so strong. First of all, like, you look great, first of all. And two, I agree. I feel like a lot of people try to manipulate you, gaslight you, deflect. You try to tell them, and then they try to play the victim. So I feel like that is a hard thing to do, because sometimes your mind is not as strong as you think it is. And you just have to look back, okay, I'm not going to do that again. And you're here. You're good. Okay.
Period.
Period. You're here. You're good. Okay.
Period.
Period. But, okay, we are over 15 minutes, but we need to do this again. I really enjoyed you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for talking to me, and have a good day.
Of course.
And be blessed.
You too, girl.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.